There are few things worse in football than your team turning up for a big game, only to be on the receiving end of an absolute thumping. You don't expect it but can soon powerlessly feel it coming. As the goals go in one by one, a loss soon becomes a heavy defeat and quickly turns into a nightmare. And there's little you can do about it except sit helplessly and wish for the ground to swallow you up. That fate engulfed Manchester United on Sunday in what was their heaviest ever defeat against their fiercest rivals Liverpool, who slammed 7 goals past them in the mother of all maulings at Anfield, leaving Erik ten Hag to blast his players as unprofessional while Gary Neville branded the result a freak. But where does it rank among the most humiliating football defeats of all time? Takes a look. 8. Man Utd 8-2 Arsenal, August 28, 2011. United can perhaps accept it was their turn to be on the receiving end of another good drubbing, having dished out plenty over the years. The one that lives long in the memory is the 8-2 hammering of longtime foes Arsenal in an Old Trafford classic. United got themselves into a 3-1 lead at halftime before Arsenal seemed to fall on their sword. It was 6-1 before future United striker Robin van Persie looked to have salvaged a glimmer of pride for the Gunners. But United weren't done there, as man of the match Wayne Rooney completed his hat-trick, before Ashley Young bagged his second goal with a superb curling effort to hit the final nail into Arsenal. 7. Southampton 0-9 Leicester, October 25, 2019. The joint biggest defeat in Premier League history. It's remarkable to think Ralph Hasenhüttl presided over 2 9-0 defeats in his time as Southampton boss but still prolonged his time in the dugout. There were severe calls for Hasenhüttl to be axed after their capitulation against Leicester, which had them 5-0 down at halftime, while both Jose Perez and Jamie Vardy went on to each grab hat-tricks. Southampton's case was not helped by Ryan Bertrand getting a straight red card after just 12 minutes, when they were already a goal down. And it's the fact they were down to 10 men which probably saved Hasenhüttl's skin, while also keeping them off the top spot in this list. 6. Man Utd 1-6 Man City, October 23, 2011. The tide has well and truly turned in Manchester from the glory days of Sir Alex Ferguson to the new era of Man City. It wasn't always like this, of course, and United, bar their latest disaster, looked to be on the way back. But the result that signaled the balance had shifted was when City inflicted United's heaviest home defeat in more than 55 years, since beating them 5-0 in 1955. It was also the first time United had conceded 6 at Old Trafford since 1930. City were only a goal up at halftime before United had Johnny Evans sent off just after the break. The visitors were still just 3-1 ahead as the game drew to close, but City eventually ran riot, scoring 3 goals in injury time to completely embarrass their rivals. Mario Balotelli was among the goal scorers on the day, producing his famous "Why Always Me" t-shirt celebration. City would go on to win the title on the final day of the season thanks to that Sergio Aguero moment which heralded a new dawn in the Premier League. 5. Aston Villa 7-2 Liverpool, October 4, 2020. A defeat so out of the blue no one saw it coming. Perhaps more so because it was preceded by Man Utd being thrashed 6-1 by Tottenham earlier in the day. Surely fans were not going to witness another epic upset? Oh, but they were. Villa caught reigning champions Liverpool completely on the back foot, racing into an early lead through Ollie Watkins on his way to a hat-trick. Jack Grealish caused chaos in the midfield as Liverpool's back line were all at sea. The Reds were 4-1 down at the break, before Mo Salah pulled it back to 5-2. But Grealish was always going to have the last laugh, bagging a brace to compound Liverpool's misery and start an inquest in Jurgen Klopp's dressing room. 4. Barcelona 2-8 Bayern Munich. August 14, 2020. There is nothing worse than getting knocked out of a competition on the biggest stage by conceding 8 goals on home soil. Except of course, if one of your own players scores 2 of the goals against you. That was how Philippe Coutinho's evening panned out on his return to the Camp Nou during his loan spell at Bayern Munich. The Brazilian was unwanted by Barca, so much so they didn't bother to insert a clause to stop him playing against them during his time at the German club. How that backfired, as Coutinho came off the bench to deliver the final blows in the dying minutes of their Champions League quarter-final clash. In truth, the game was well sewn up by then, as Bayern completely outplayed their opponents and eventually went on to pick up the trophy. But the defeat laid bare Barcelona's problems, while Coutinho's cameo only rubbed salt into the wound. 3. Australia 31-0 American Samoa, April 11, 2001. That is not a typo and you have read that correctly. Australia did beat American Samoa 31-0. Who are American Samoa, you might ask? When a team concedes 31 times, does it really matter? Yes, the Minnows went into their 2002 World Cup qualifier as the underdogs, given they were the lowest-ranked team 203 in the FIFA World Rankings, but Australia were hardly top-tier, placed at number 75 and rested a number of key players, such was their confidence. Though perhaps this one was always going to end one way, given Australia beat Tonga 22-0 to set a new world record just days before, while American Samoa had shipped 21 goals combined in their previous 2 matches. Sure enough, Australia broke their own world record for the largest victory in an international match, taking the lead after 10 minutes and building up a 16-0 lead by halftime, while striker Archie Thompson hit double figures on his own, bagging 13 goals, another world record. It transpired that American Samoa had a number of passport issues which affected their team selection, forcing them to pick 3 15-year-olds while some of their players had never played a 90-minute match. 2. Liverpool 7-0 Man Utd, March 5, 2023. It's up there, isn't it? How can it not be? As Gary Neville put it, you might lose 2-0, you might lose 2-1, you might lose 3-0, but you do not lose 7-0 here. You just don't. While United only had slim hopes of mounting a title challenge, the fact their pursuit was derailed by their fiercest rivals, who have been struggling for form all season, leaves a sour taste in the mouth. It was United's heaviest defeat against Liverpool in their history. And the manner of their second-half collapse was the most glaring aspect. The gloss of that Carabao Cup win has quickly worn off, and this match will be remembered a lot longer than that triumph. 1. Brazil 1-7 Germany, July 8, 2014. Taking the crown. It may seem slightly harsh to rank a defeat to the eventual world champions as a humiliation. But when the losing side is none other than 5-time World Cup winners Brazil, in the semi-final of a home tournament where they'd not lost in 39 years, well, that's a different story. The Selecao had so much optimism heading into the 2014 World Cup, too, and had scored 10 goals in 5 matches to reach the last 4. But Germany simply wiped the floor with the host nation. They were 5-0 up within half an hour, and Brazil were already at panic stations trying to batten down the hatches and keep the scoreline somehow respectable, an impossible task which they failed at miserably. Brazil's defense, led by the hapless David Luiz, was pulled from pillar to post, and the team's only positive was a 90th-minute goal from Oscar which barely acted as a consolation. Talisman Neymar was absent due to injury, but admitted after the game, "It was unbelievable. I cannot explain it. It was a blackout. We conceded goals and it was difficult to get our bearings. I know what it's like to be on the pitch when that happens. You can't organize, you can't pass, you can't do anything. I spoke to the players, asked them what happened. They didn't know how to explain it.